with the bros and you know we'll be mobbing. Had the cut ties in December, we tried it.
I describe Miami, Florida State, all of that as a family fight.
Temper starting to flare down on the field.
The physicality of these games were at another level.
Oh, the ball is on the ground. They brought the best out of us, and we brought the best out of them.
We knew we had to win, and we knew the stakes. It was everything.
Welcome back to another episode of A Day in the Sports Life. I'm your host, Dejan King. It's rivalry week. We have the Florida State Seminoles hosting the Miami Hurricanes this Saturday. Now, this matchup right here is a highly anticipated one between two foes in the Sunshine State. Now, the last 10 matchups, both teams have a 5-5 record. And coming into this weekend's matchup, we have two top 25 teams who are looking to take a trip to the playoffs this year. Now, Florida State Seminoles, they're ranked number 18th with a 3-1 record. They were just upsetted last Friday versus the Virginia Volunteers, 44-36 in double overtime. And one of the craziest matchups you will see this year. One of the biggest upsets so far this season. Florida State Seminoles find themselves 3-1 coming into this matchup. For the Miami Hurricanes, they are ranked number 3 in the country, and they are 4-0. Now, with this matchup right here, we got two teams who are very familiar with one another. And what was going to be a top 10 matchup, watching FSU just crumble versus Virginia is very disappointing. But when you look at this FSU team, what they have done so far this season, you got to be proud of what they've done. I mean, last year in 2024, this team was 2-10. And just starting the season off, they upset the Alabama Crimson Tide 31-17. Now their starting quarterback is Tommy Castellanos. He's a former Boston College quarterback. He's played there for 2 seasons, and prior to that, he played at UCF. But when you look at their first 3 games so far this season, I mean, this team is outscoring all of their opponents they played. I mean, they played Alabama, they played East Texas A&M, and they played Kent State. And they outscored them a combined 174-30. That's a 144-point differential for this FSU team. So coming into this Virginia matchup this past weekend, you can tell that they were very high on themselves, and they might have been peeking at film versus Miami the following week and overlooking their opponent in Virginia. And it proven when they lost 44-36. I mean, it was a nail-biting overtime thriller. And one thing I want to talk about in this game was the ending. Now, FSU lost in double overtime, but what happened towards the end on the last play was very concerning for me, at least. And I would hope concerning for the college football committee and any fans who are very dedicated to the sport. Now, towards the end, Virginia, they won, and they had the traditional storming the field. But to me, it was very dangerous. We're talking about not even 2 seconds after the game concludes, the entire stands just barrages the field, and in a matter of 1 second, the field is filled with fans running around, and they're just hysterical. They're happy. They're celebrating, but when you look at the end zone, you have players right there on the field who haven't even got a chance to get up off the field. You got fans running next to them, trampling over them. And that is a safety hazard for these college football athletes. And I think that the committee should definitely look into that because it was just very dangerous. I mean, take a look at this.
Time number 2. Here comes the blitz. Castellanos in trouble. Heaves one towards the end zone. Intercepted. It's over. Virginia has done it.
Now, I think that the college football committee needs to prioritize the safety of the players and possibly set a mandate that states that fans can only storm the field after maybe 30 seconds to a minute, or just give a couple seconds or a couple minutes for these players to gather themselves and get into a safety area so that you can storm the field and celebrate in a permissible way, something that's at least safe for the teams. Now, going forward, FSU is 3-1. This is a wake-up call for them that they are beatable. And going into this Miami game, they can't look at what happened with Virginia. They have to now focus on the present opponent, which is the Miami Hurricanes, who are a very good team this year. Miami knocked off the Florida Gators this year, 26-7, and they also knocked off the Notre Dame Fighting Irish in a Week 1 matchup. So coming into this matchup, it's going to be really good. Now, the biggest thing with both of these teams, they're battling for the Florida Cup. Now, the Florida Cup, also known as the State Championship of Florida, is an annual American football rivalry between the top 3 teams in Florida. We're talking about Power 5 teams. It's the University of Florida Gators, the Florida State Seminoles, and the University of Miami. Now, in order to win this, you must beat out the 2 opposing teams that you will be facing. So right now this year, the Miami Hurricanes have the advantage. They knocked off the Florida Gators 26-7, and they're 1-0 right now. So with this matchup coming up this weekend versus the FSU, if they win the trophy, and they'll be the best team in Florida. Now, the big thing about Miami is that they also knocked off USF. So right now, if they win, they'll have a 3-0 record in the, I would say, Florida matchups that they played so far. So this is a highly anticipated matchup between 2 of the best football teams in the country in college. And I'm very excited for it. The question is, who do you have winning this matchup and why? Another developing story in college football takes place in the Southeastern Conference, also known as the SEC. Quarterback Arch Manning, nephew of Hall of Fame quarterback Peyton Manning and future Hall of Fame quarterback Eli Manning. He's the son of Cooper Manning, is the starting quarterback of the University of Texas. Now, in his first 4 starts, a lot of people have said it's very controversial, but when you look at the statistics, he's not doing too bad. But when you actually put on the tape and watch him play, he has been struggling in his first 4 appearances as the Texans starting quarterback. So far, he has a 61% completion rating, 888 yards passing, 9 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. And on the ground, he has 28 carries, 123 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Now, in his first 4 games, he did struggle, and it was very apparent versus Ohio State, especially when you put on the tape. Now, when you look at his first 4 games, you want to talk about the strengths, the positives, and also what are the weaknesses with Arch Manning. Now, his athleticism and his dual threat ability. Now, Manning has shown flashes with his legs, and he's using it as a weapon early on this season. Now, when you see him, he has the potential to make big plays down the field and to break off some chunk gains with his legs. He does have a lot of room to grow, and the biggest thing with him is just his decision making. All right. When you look at him, it's just the mental mistakes that he's making throughout the games. Now, you want him to be more consistent when he's under pressure, but when the pass rush is coming in on him, you can see that his efficiency dips. Looking at his first game versus Ohio State, this man right here went 17 of 30 for 170 yards for a touchdown and 1 interception. Texas ended up losing 14-7, and they got their first touchdown in the 4th quarter. In the second half, he made better plays, and in the 4th quarter, he was 4 of 7 for 105 yards and a touchdown. Now, he showed some flashes. He showed some flashes with his accuracy and ability to push the ball down the field when comfortable, but when he's under pressure, his efficiency really dips, and we need him to be better in that facet of his game. Early in the game, he was over 5 on throws over 5 yards, showing he struggled to push the ball past short and safe throws. Now, his off-target rate was very high. It was notable that he had the worst QB percentage in a decade, sitting at 37%. And he did commit a very detrimental interception in this game. But that was the first game of the season. Now, here's where things get even tricky for Arch. In game 2 versus San Jose State, he threw another interception. But this game, he did polish up some of those mistakes and showed a very promising performance, throwing 19 of 30, 295 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Texas only won 38-7, and that's where a lot of people showed that controversy and that optimism surrounding him, and just the doubt that Arch Manning truly can be that quarterback that gets these teams over the hump. Now, when you look at the negative plays, he still was playing very sloppy, and it was a mistake-driven game. Now, Texas in this one had 12 penalties totaling up to 115 yards. So it just wasn't Arch Manning who made these mistakes. But when you look at the positives, he did play more balanced and had a lot of aggression, and he pushed the ball vertically, connecting on multiple deep throws and making big plays. So he showed his ability to have those telescopic throws and capabilities of making throws deep down the field versus San Jose State. And in game 3 versus UTEP, this was another one where you're looking at him like, oh, what is going on? Versus UTEP, he had in one point of this game, in the first half, 10 straight incompletions. And everyone I know, they're waving the right flag like, man, put the backup in. No one was saying that. But it definitely was discouraging seeing him throw 10 straight incompletions in the first half. Now, Texas ended up winning 27-10 over UTEP. He only threw 1 touchdown. He had another interception. Now, as you understand, this guy right here, he's thrown 3 interceptions in his first 3 games. When he gets to the 4th one, that's where he kind of cleaned things up a little bit more and showed more of a promising performance. But when you focus on the UTEP game, I mean, this is just where he made mistakes in crucial parts of the game. Throwing an interception in the red zone was very dangerous, and it damaged that drive that they were building up. Now, when you look at some of the positives, he did show that he is very athletic. And in this game, he had 2 touchdowns on the ground, which helped mask his passing struggles. In the 4th game versus Sam Houston, his stats were 18 of 21, 309 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, and he had 2 rushing touchdowns. Texas ended up winning 55-0. And in this game, this was his cleanest performance. He had an 86% completion pass rating, and he was very decisive with his throws. And he also had 0 turnovers. So that's the positive. On the negative side, I mean, the opponent is Sam Houston, so it's a very weak FCS opponent, no power level in this competition at all. And he still had made some risky throws. So the biggest takeaway for Arch Manning is that the upside is he's confident. He can find rhythm when he's not being pressured. And he does have the ability to attack a defense in just a dissecting format. But the biggest thing for him is that when he's facing pressure versus a clean pocket, he's more effective when he's not under heavy duress. As a defense, you need to pressure Arch, and you need to make him use his legs against you. And when his mind is in disarray, when his mind is under duress, that's when it seems like he's able to make more mistakes. But overall, I mean, this is a huge opportunity for Arch Manning, a very monumental moment for him to change the landscape, change the narrative surrounding him as being not the guy. This is an opportunity for him versus the SEC to prove that he can beat the top teams in college football. This schedule coming up is a gauntlet, and he's going to prove to everybody. He has the opportunity to prove to everybody that he is the guy. Texas Longhorns, they have a daunting schedule coming up. Florida, Oklahoma, Kentucky, Mississippi State, Vanderbilt, Georgia, Arkansas, and then finishing off with a rivalry game on Thanksgiving versus Texas A&M. We will see if Arch Manning is the guy. We will see if that legacy of that last name, the Mannings, will live through him. Archie Manning, There's the father, Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, Cooper Manning, and now we have Arch. Question is, will he live up to that hype and the potential? One thing I will say is that I am anticipating this and I'm looking forward to it. I'm very captivated by this story, and we'll see what happens with Arch Manning and this Texas Longhorns, as they are a top 25 team and they do have playoff hopes. Let's see what happens. Now, I'm glad that you guys tuned into another episode of A Day in a Sports Life. And once again, I'm your host, Dejan King, and we have a lot of fun games coming up this weekend in the college football landscape. These are just two of the main stories that I think are very exciting. So get some popcorn, get yourselves a nice beverage, sit back and relax, and let's watch some football. Once again, I'm your host, Dejan King. Take care. Have a nice weekend.
Be with the bros and you know we mobbing. Had the cut ties in December, we tried it.